Welcome to the sunny side of freedom. Today we have a very special guest. We have 420 Chief in the house. He is a Navy veteran, 20 years. Hi, Chief.
Hello,
Mhm.
glad to be here. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Happy to be here. We actually just got off of our episode 22 Coffee Talk, and you're probably all very familiar with it as Sunny has been uploading those episodes onto my YouTube channel. We are live here today because I wanted you to meet my very special friend, 420 Chief. And we kind of wanted to tell you all a little bit about what it is we've been doing, both on platforms and off the platforms in our communities. So, Chief, let's start off with the sunny side of freedom and what that's meant to you. And for those of you, before you go, but for those of you who aren't familiar with the sunny side of freedom and what it is that Sunny does, I am active on social media platforms, but I'm also very active in the community, uniting veterans across the nation. Sunny has been hosting Veteran Lives for the last 2 years, and that's where we're going to go with this conversation now. Chief, you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, I first started joining in your lives, I believe it was last November timeframe, and I'd actually been sent your profile, your Friday Night Veteran Live by a mutual friend of ours, Scooter, who I actually deployed with back in 2010, 2011. And at the time, I didn't even have account at all. I was just on YouTube, where my plan was to do my veteran interviews around 420 healing. And so I got on TikTok and kind of checked it out, met um, some folks on there. But when I came into your live, I remember one of the first ones I had noticed that you had challenged people to do a random act of kindness. And so I think this was right before Christmas. And it was funny because the very, very next morning, I was driving out of my driveway to take my son to the bus stop, and there was a person in a wheelchair at the end of my driveway. And so, long story short, I helped him out, gave him a ride, gave him some gloves. It was freezing cold, and he had just wheeled up a hill about a quarter of a mile and was just sitting there waiting for somebody to come give him a ride. I think it was 19 degrees that morning. It was really cold. So I gave him a ride, and I ended up going back into town and chatting with him later as my random act of kindness. And after that, I noticed that you were not only just talking about how to help people, but you were really demonstrating that. And you started doing your planks, mindful moment planks. You've been doing that 383. Is this day 383? 383 days in a row. But when I saw that, I also saw other people getting out and doing things, whether that was going and hiking or cooking. I saw that people were taking action and not just being stuck and stagnant in life. And so that to me was a call to action. And so I started duetting from day one. And then from the Friday Night Veteran Lives, I met so many people with powerful stories. People would come in and get comfortable enough to talk about some of the obstacles that they've overcome, some of the things that they've been through. And I started to see real friendships blossoming in these lives. And it got to the point where I became a little bit more comfortable week by week to open up and share some of my own story. But more than anything, I met some really amazing heroes that have done and been through and overcome so many amazing things. It's just been an amazing support system that you cultivated there. And it's really brought in quality people who aren't just talking about support, they're demonstrating that.
Thank you so much, Chief. Yes, I remember that random act of kindness challenge, and I immediately remember responding to you and saying, "I see you." When we see each other and we see that we're all here trying to support, uplift, inspire, but more importantly, I really wanted to get the message out there for our veteran community. We see you, we hear you, and create a space, which is what the Sunny Side of Freedom platform did, create a space for them to come and get to know some of their brothers and sisters, and then take it a step further, which was my bridging the gap, bring in the civilians to gain perspective. This is your opportunity to come in on a Friday night, listen to our veterans, learn to understand. And they did. And so much love. came into these lives over the last 2 years. It's been amazing, and you're 100% right. Not only have we created a space where so many of you have come together, to know each other and create that support that you all need, but we've all become friends, on and off this application because there are real people out here. It's not just social media, and to see it grow, but to see the friendships grow where some of us refer to each other as family now, we sincerely mean that. So I wanted you here today, not only to share a little bit about what you're doing, but I also wanted to know for our viewers what it's meant to you. And I thank you for your kind words. Because like you, Chief, there's been so many that come in, watched the lives, were uncertain on whether or not to participate. So they kind of watched, some watched in the hallways, didn't engage, and then after some time engaged and started to get familiarized with, okay, this is cool. We can do this. And the benefits of joining these lives and what it's done to improve mental health. All involved, not just our veterans, but our civilians. We've had a lot of military families join us as well, spouses, widows, children, all around how it's benefited every individual who's participated.
So much, and mothers that, their children are just going and joining, I know one of
Mhm.
our fam is talking her son just joined the Marine Corps last week, and she actually joined us, and we were able to be there for her and support her through it, and kind of remind her, he's joined his new family, and so it's an amazing place where people who can relate and sympathize and empathize with one another and really be there to support one another. As a reminder, you're never really alone, even if your son just left or your daughter just left or husband or wife or whatever the case, we've seen it all there. Um, we're still here to support.
Absolutely, and that was actually a beautiful moment, to come into a veteran's life as a mother who just sent her son off, and of course, as a mother myself, I understand, your heart's beating a little bit faster, you're nervous, you're anxious, they're away from you, are they gonna be okay? All those concerns, but then to be welcomed and, kind of our arms wrapped around her like, "You're gonna be okay," and then to have all of you offer her that support and comfort and saying, "He's gonna be okay." He's just joined his new family, which is so much of that education and awareness that we bring. For too long as a society, we have so many things we have to work on, but one of those things being bringing awareness to the life of a veteran. What does that look like? Gaining understanding and learning how to support them on different levels. There are other organizations out there, of course, and I applaud every single one of them that are, taking the leaps and bounds to make a difference and really bring about change. Because sadly, Chief, both you and I are both wearing our 22 a day too many hoodies today. And for those that don't know what 22 a day means, that means 22, statistically speaking, a very outdated number, by the way. Um, take their lives. And it's trying to gain understanding as to why that's happening. And part of my mission is uniting veterans, not just on the platforms, but also off the platforms, giving them back that sense of community, that sense of I'm not alone. I could reach out to someone. And I don't know if you want to take it there, Chief, and maybe talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Sometimes it's not about needing someone to tell you what to do. Sometimes you just need someone to listen or someone to be there to vent to. Sometimes you just need somebody to help you fill your cup, whatever that means. Maybe that's tell you a joke. Maybe that means, do a hobby with you, a puzzle, a painting, music lives. We've been very successful with music therapy and getting people to unite. And sometimes that's coming into a live and just listening. I know I've been in on numerous occasions where it was a Friday night, I had a rough day, and maybe I didn't want to talk, but just hearing others and being surrounded by like-minded individuals that are leading with change, positivity, that changed the outcome of my day. And that has been very beneficial for me, and not just that on the platform, but even outside the platform as far as text messaging, if there's days where I'm quiet or I'm delayed or God forbid, I'm 3 minutes late starting my live, I've got people reaching out on my phone, checking in, "Hey, just making sure everything's okay." And it's a constant reminder that I'm not alone and that people do care, and aside from that, it's really a place where people can get validated and find their voice find their true self and be embraced by like-minded individuals. When I first came in, again, I wasn't really comfortable telling my story with a bunch of strangers, but as time rolled on, I saw the quality and the caliber of the folks in there and, found people that I looked up to and even respected, and that helped me, tell my story and get my story out and my mission out there, and when I heard people coming to me and saying, "Hey, that really helped me," um, one way or another, that gave me that validation that, you know what, maybe I'm on the right track, maybe I do have the right people around me, and it made me more confident to just keep pushing through and keep hustling every single day, irregardless.
Absolutely. Take a few seconds back, listen to understand, right? To truly understand what someone's going through, pause, just listen. They don't need advice. They just need you to listen, you know? And that's something that the platform has done for so many. We've heard so many stories. We've shared a lot of laughter too, whether we were talking about boot camp stories, whatever. It hasn't always been the same. But the one thing that I take away from the platform is the way we all welcome everyone in. Welcome, and let them decide at what level they want to engage. But it's a safe space where they can do that. And you're 100% right. As a result of doing this over the last 2 years, first of all, I'm honored. I'm honored to do it as a civilian. Too often I'm asked, "How are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" And my easy answer is, "It's my time to serve." And I encourage any civilian out there that if it's called to your heart to do so, please do so. Our veteran community need us. They are our heroes and warriors, and they've been through a lot, and it's our turn. I really do believe that in my heart. It's our turn to give back and be there for them. And I can't say that it's always been easy to do what I'm doing, but it's been the most rewarding. Given me such purpose, and I really can't even articulate it, the power behind it, which is the next thing I wanted to talk to you about because we've taken it a step further. We haven't just grown a platform, a community of veterans and civilians. We've bridged that gap, but we took it a step further in 2024, uniting veterans across the nation, which is, all over the country. We had veterans meet up. And our very first meetup was in the month of May in Missouri, which you were a part of, Chief.
I was. That was amazing. We did that at, Washington State Park, south of DeSoto, Missouri, just north of where Rob lives and south of where I live just a little bit. But that was a really amazing experience. We had veterans from 5 different states at the first meetup. I think a total of 8 people showed up at that one, male and female. Beautiful location. We did have bonfires every night. We even did a Sunny Side of Freedom live in person together around the campfire that evening. And the Missouri meetup, it was different. It was during the locust season, so we had cicadas singing in the background and people traveling from all over, even people from Canada were there to experience that. But more than anything, taking it that step further from off the app and realizing, "Hey, these folks are just like they are on the application." It made me feel a little bit more comfortable, and, there's just a power to meeting people in person. We build these relationships and we see kind of, what people are about, when you've been with them long enough online, but when you get to see them in person, you get to see, how tall they are, their facial expressions, their quirks, and the power of being able to give someone a handshake or even a hug, is it's hard to beat that. But no, it was an amazing, amazing time in Missouri. We did hiking, we did some fishing, we did a whole lot of cooking and grilling. But for me, it was especially, I think my standout moments were around the bonfire, just being able to get to know each other on a one-on-one personal basis. It makes it a little bit more intimate and more comfortable to share some of those, stories, experiences that they may not have felt as comfortable discussing on an application.
Absolutely. And for our viewers, just so you can gain a little understanding, so much of that decision, number one, the need was there. Our veterans were asking me for that. Sunny, we need to do more. We need to do more. We need to meet. And of course, I was nervous. Oh my goodness, as the organizer, I was like, can I do this? And I cannot leave the support from the community. Whether they were within our veteran lives or not, the amount of love and support that immediately started coming forward and saying, I want to support you, $1, $5, whatever it was. So that allowed us to do it the first time and the second time, guys. Pretty impressive and amazing. And, not everybody can do what Sunny's doing or maybe are nervous for whatever the reason is, but they definitely stepped up to help our veteran community, which is the message that I also get out to them, which is you are seen, you're heard. And as a society, we may not always have known how to help you, but we're trying. Give us a chance. And you guys all did that. You've embraced it. And you're right. The meetup, man, amazing. After we've spent so many hours on lives, you feel like you know them, right? We know each other. And then you meet in person. It's like, it's really you. Oh my God. I've spent hours and hours talking to you. Now we finally get to meet. And what I took away from that, having that front row seat, is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see you all bonded by service and come together. And for you, it was those bonfires, which I too appreciated and loved. But it was the laughter. I will always go back to the laughter. Hearing you all laugh always made my heart smile.
Yeah, it's fun. It's especially fun to listen to us veterans harp on one another because we can be a little vulgar and some might think we're mean, but yeah, it's pretty funny. And you even learned a few special terms, I think, from these meetups, listening to the veterans. It's yeah.
You all have been amazing teachers. Sunny was green. I mean, let's be honest, I remember starting my first veteran lives, like, what? Why do they keep making reference to crayons? What's up with that? I learned. Now I buy them boxes of crayons because I understand. But yes, I've learned a lot with all of you. But you've also welcomed me because you understood that I really was trying to make that difference. You got to see what I was doing. And yes, I had to prove myself like anybody else, right? Are they serious? Are they really committed and dedicated? And that required a lot of consistency on my end. If I say I'm going to be there, I better be there. And it started on a platform, making sure that I was there every Friday. And yes, lots of canceled plans. Sorry, I can't have a veterans live. Sorry, I can't have a veterans live. And it's just kind of become a part of my life. That if I'm not going to be able to be a part of that live, you all knew in advance, like Sunny's not going to be here next Friday, guys. I'm going to Portugal to visit my family. I'll be back in 2 weeks, you know? We really genuinely care about each other, and like you said, Chief, yes, we check on each other. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was running 15 minutes behind schedule because I had a personal call. Because yes, we have lives outside of all these other wonderful things that we're doing, and I had to take it, and I was running behind. Sure enough, my DMs were like, "Sunny, are you good?" We care about each other, which goes back to so much of what we hear out in our communities, which is check on your friends, do your weekly check-ins. Not many are familiar with this language. I'm going to be honest with you. Prior to getting involved, as I have, I didn't hear that often. Check on your friends. I mean, we had like a personal responsibility to our relationships with friendships, but we didn't hear about that. That's really become a part of my language now since I've been involved, to the degree that I have with all of you.
Yeah, it went from a weekly veteran live to now I get, like, daily check-ins with people, so it went from, like, "Oh, Chief's not here," or "Chief's not in late. Where's he at?" And then people would send me a live or send me some DMs to now, I mean, every day I'm getting, messages for sure.
Yeah, and we've just honestly, we've all grown individually and collectively. I mean, earlier today we were hosting our coffee talk, which is our episode 22, and we just kind of did a little bit of a, recap over the last 2 years and even our coffee talks, conversations we've had, the people we've met, and how we've not only supported, inspired them to tap into those feelings of don't be afraid. It's okay. You got this. If something's called to your heart, go forward. It's okay. It's not going to happen in one day. It's not going to happen overnight, but stick with it, whatever it is. But we have been an incredible support system for one another. You've all been there for me as well. And for that, I'm grateful. But Aside from that one meetup there in Missouri, Chief, we took it a step further 3 months later and hosting the second in Mississippi, meeting some new faces as well.
Definitely a change of scenery, it was a great trip there, as well. That was amazing. Beautiful campsite. We had cabins split out there, and, because we were in Mississippi, we were able to actually leave the campsite and go down and visit the ocean and see some local sites, like the world famous Sippy Steve's, which was right outside of our camp area. But, yeah, that meetup was a little bit different as well. That one went so fast. The consensus when that was over was like, "Man, I feel like I just got here." It was such an amazing vibe, such a good time, amazing people. That one, it was really heartfelt, and, from that meetup, it was more of a validation about some of the folks there, like our brother 4 Points. You know, I'd felt like I'd already known this guy. I really felt like we're brother from a different mother separated somewhere along the way, and we've been have such a similar story to when I met him, it was even better. He was just a little taller than I had expected, to be honest. But that vibe was there, that feeling of camaraderie was genuinely there, and I felt safer having, like himself, Chris was another one. When I finally got to meet him, what a sweet guy, and just an amazing individual who he really does care about others, and he had everything that we needed and then some, to add to it. But those genuine relationships, that's hard to find, you know what I mean? So oftentimes for veterans, we're used to having the person to our right and our left, we've been stationed with them or mobilized or deployed or whatever the case is, and we relied on those people to our right and left because we didn't always have the tools, training/resources that we needed to do a mission, but we had each other, and we always made shit happen, and like, even in my case, when I got out, I lost touch with so many because I didn't wanna be a burden. They had shit going on, I had stuff going on, so we really lose touch, and what the meetups really brought back for me was that camaraderie is still there. There's people out there going through similar situations that feel the same way. We may not have been stationed together, but the camaraderie is there. So for me, it was like just going to a different unit and not having to start all over by proving yourself. These were people who've been through similar situations, and now I'm meeting them and getting to hear their intimate stories, what they've been through, the things they've overcome, and more importantly, the things that they're working on and the things that they're doing for others that just attracted me to that. So I knew then that these meetups were creating lifelong relationships, not just online support, not just buddies, but lifelong relationships, partnerships, and even, business relationships.
Well, I was gonna ask you what it's meant to you, but you've already answered that, and, I have to tell you, yes, the second meetup. My goodness, there was so much laughter. We really make it count while we're there. One of my favorite moments where the sun sets and sun rises and the genuine appreciation for the moment that we're in. And yes, we were all very sad when it ended. And you're right, it went so much faster than the first one. And once again, for our viewers and those that have supported my journey and the mission of Sunny Side of Freedom, uniting veterans across the nation, I say thank you. Thank you for everything you've done, not only sharing it out there, not only your donations, it's all going towards an amazing mission, which is uniting our veterans, giving them back, like Chief had mentioned, what so many felt they lost, for one reason or another, coming back from service. And this is something that we've talked about on our lives, helping civilians understand through veterans' perspective what that feels like. And we can't get into all of that today, but maybe at another date we can definitely talk about that, because I think it's important that we continue educating our societies. They need to do better, and that's me as a civilian saying that we need to do better. We don't talk about this. We just welcome them home, and then what? We need to do more. There's not enough being done. Although there are some amazing, amazing individuals out there truly devoted and committed to making that difference. We need more. We need more leaders. We need more individuals. And I'm going to say this: you do not have to be a veteran to put one foot in front of the other and make change happen. It starts with one person, and it's a ripple effect. I know myself with other civilians just because I have been doing what I've done. It's encouraging others to do the same, civilians as well. And that's what it's about, bringing that change that we want to see, leading in love and helping lead the way for others. Chief, I'm super grateful that you've been a part of the 2 meetups. I'm grateful that you're a part of my life. That you're a part of the sunny side of freedom life. We most definitely have built a family. And for our viewers, I want you to know that too often we attend events and it's great while you're there and or a wedding for a family member and you're like, "Oh, we should talk. We'll stay in touch." And then it never happens. I'm going to tell you right now, these connections are daily. We know how people are doing, and at the end of the day, it always goes back to preventing the 22 a day, which we know this number to be much greater. I can't quote you a number, but I can tell you that it's so much greater, if not double, maybe triple. There really is a crisis on our hands, and we just need to do better when we're bringing awareness to and breaking stigmas along the way, and not being afraid to talk about these things. If you're struggling, you should be able to talk to someone. So find your people, find your group, find whatever is calling to you, but don't do it alone. You don't have to.
Yep, reach out, ask questions, and you'll find people, and the more you talk about it, I think that's, something that I would like to just bring up is another benefit that I've seen from the group is when people start talking about their passions or their mission, their purpose, the more that you talk about it, the more that opens opportunities, right? So somebody else might hear that and think of you later if they run into somebody who's supporting that or somebody that you could help. And that doesn't happen until you start sharing that with other people. So oftentimes we feel like, man, I've got to do this on my own. I've been burned in the past too many times. Nobody really wants to match my energy. Nobody's as serious as I am about it. But if you just sit there and you try to do it all yourself, it can be very difficult. And what we found, like I said earlier, is people that are taking action, but when they share that, like on a veteran live or even at a meetup, and tell other people about what's going on, it helps them relate to it, better understand it, and so many times people just want to help. And so many times we're all a network. We all know a person that knows how to do something. And once we start sharing those networks and sharing that support, we're seeing things happen, actions, not just words.
Absolutely. We've definitely planted seeds of growth, and we're helping each other in so many ways, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We're seeing each other grow in ways that we didn't even know or believed in to begin with. But with the support, it has definitely allowed us to keep going. And I look back, I'm like, you guys are always there, like, go, Sonny, you can do this. Like right now, we're actually in looking to host our third meetup, and I'm super excited about it. So with that, I'm actually gonna go on over and talk about, you for a minute. I wanna know a little bit more about you for our viewers, who you are, what's your mission? I know what it is, but I want them to know and what they can take away from that, what it is that you're doing in your community.
Certainly. So my ultimate mission is to inform and educate people about the healing properties of cannabis specifically. I myself was an alcoholic for many years, and I did Cali Sober myself, which is using cannabis as an alternative to alcohol. But what I found was it wasn't just like trading an addiction for an addiction. When I started consuming, I started to consume, or I started to research the different strains, and there's thousands of different strains and different terpenes in every type of cannabis. And what I learned was there were certain strains that would help me with my sleep. There were certain strains that could help me with my gut health issues. There were certain strains that would help me with pain. And there were certain strains that helped me mentally. And I think that was the biggest one for me was that mental one. And I'm gonna be honest, it's not the 420, but it was the 420 helped me with, like, putting a buffer in place to where I had a safe space to work on some of my problems and calming my mind, my thoughts, and allowing me to change my reactions and my responses. So, because that helped me and helped save my life and ailments, different types of pains, I wanted to share that information. And so I hit the road. Well, actually, before that, I published a book called Strains for Pain. It's on Amazon, but the book is a guide. At the beginning, it tells I think there's 19 different strains that are medically reviewed that help with different things, but the rest of it is to be used so that people can document what works for them and how it worked so that they can keep track. Like some things work better than others. Some things may give you anxiety. Some may take it away. Some may give you energy. Some may make you tired. So it's important to kind of know that. And so I wanted people to be able to have a way to document that. Beyond that, I did start my podcast where I've interviewed people such as Dr. Judd from Green Cert MD and Green Seed, and he is a medical doctor in Missouri that can issue out medical marijuana licenses or, for people with different ailments. After interviewing him, I realized, there really is something to this, the different strains and how they can help people in so many ways. I want to get some veteran stories out. So I started traveling around and meeting more people that had similar stories to mine, or even just all kinds of different stories and different ways that it's helped them. And so, my mission with the podcast on YouTube and my website is really interviewing people, hearing what they've been through, how they've overcome, and how they've used plant medicine to assist them. Along the way, like I said, I started coming into your lives and joined TikTok. And it wasn't the platform to get this type of information out there. I'm highly censored on that platform, but I met such great, amazing people. I wanted to add some value there. I already had this hardware equipment to do interviews, so I thought, I love music. I vibe out every night. Anyways, I might as well start doing music lives. So I started to do those on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And what happened was I found that a lot of folks from the sunny side of freedom started coming in, really bringing the positivity, really started bringing the support. But over time, I started to get messages behind the scenes, people saying how it helped them out so much, maybe that day, that week, whatever. And I realized that there's just a whole bunch of people, thousands of people have come through these lives. And you and I have received hundreds, maybe thousands of messages on how it's helped them or whatever. But when I realized that we're just a whole bunch of folks in the same place at the same time, going through some stuff, but staying positive, that was so powerful to me because there were so many days where like I said earlier, I would come in after a bad day and I'm looking forward to it because I can just sit there, listen to music. But the chat is so supportive. The folks are really there for the right reasons. They're bringing the right positive energy. There's no negativity. There's no drama. There's no flirting, no politics, none of that. And people are just kind of disconnecting. It's funny. We're on a platform, on a device, but disconnected. We're feeling the vibe, we're listening to music, and more importantly, not feeling alone. So music therapy became one of my staples, one of my go-tos. And it also helped get my name out there as 420 Chief so that people could refer to my website, 420chief.net, or my YouTube and see what I'm really doing. And so I've got the book, I've got the veteran podcasts, and I do music lives. And if, God forbid, something happens at TikTok, I'm going to stay optimistic. I think that it's going to be salvaged. But if not, I will figure it out. I have been doing a lot of research as to what platforms work best for something like that. They don't all support my hardware or the quality that I want to get out there because to me, it needs to sound good. It needs to look good for people to enjoy it. And I just have to find the right platform to where I can do that. It's compatible with my software, and I don't wanna get in trouble for copyright infringement as well, so I'm looking at my options, but I've always got my website, 420chief.net, and any active social media platforms that I have, I will certainly do my best to put on there, so it shouldn't be hard to find me if something did go on. Aside from that, though, I have been, taking my LinkedIn profile seriously. I did spend 15 years as an IT manager in, the computer area, and I built up quite a network on there of professionals, and some of those include doctors that have been doing cannabis testing with veterans, and one of them specifically, Dr. McNabb, has just been picked up by a judge to make her recommendation for the federal legalization of cannabis. So some of these people are doing humongous things medicinally to support the same mission that I'm pushing. Because had it not been for 420 for me, I would have been, one of the statistics. And so overall, with that platform, even with the 420, like I said, it's not that's not the cure all, that's not the magic pill, but it definitely does help in assisting with the 22 a day, and I think that just talking about that, having those conversations, having merchandise, helps raise awareness and helps guide people to a resource that could be available to them, and it's not for everyone, just like music therapy isn't, there's a lot of different things out there. I can't do them all, but, this is one that I'm passionate about.
Thank you, Chief, for that. You said a lot of wonderful things there. And one of them, I'm going to bring it back to holistic healing. As somebody who's always leaned into holistic healing, coming from Europe, always very familiar with grandma's making a tea for this or that. And then, living here in the United States and realizing that everything is very pharma driven. It's like, oh my, we don't do much holistic healing, do we? Or if you even try to explore the holistic healing avenue, everything is so expensive and it's not talked about as much. I'm happy to see that over the last few years, there's more conversation about holistic eating and eating clean, living a cleaner life, right? And I know when I first met you, I just want to say thank you for your patience with me, because at the end of the day, we've all kind of been programmed to think and believe specific things, especially when it comes to plant medicine. 420 in this conversation, and I had my own opinions, and I passed judgment, and for that, I feel terrible because I didn't understand. And I remember when I first came to you and I said, "Can you help me understand?" And you did. You were patient with me. You opened up my mind to having those conversations. And I sit here today and say, oh my God, it's actually saving lives. And that's the reality. And like your story, there's been so many stories coming not just from our veteran community, but also civilians alike, who have said, this is how it's helped me with pain management, whether it's anxiety, PTSD, ADHD, you name it. You name it. It's a healing property in the actual plant. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on it, but it opened my mind up enough where I said, we need to talk about this, that we really need to talk about this. This is saving lives. People are putting down the alcohol, which is a killer. And I had shared with all of you how, whether it's not directly killing someone, it may very well be killing somebody else. Like I could speak to that. I can say, yes, had a sibling, and my sibling lost his life at the hands of someone who was drinking and driving. So I know how it affected my life personally. I know how it affected my family's life. And so obviously I was intrigued. You were patient. You talked about all of it, like the strains. I had no clue. When I tell you I had no idea, I had no idea. But I'm in a different position now where I can actually have conversations with professionals within my role in healthcare, even, and they feel the same way that we are pushing medications, and sometimes those side effects are actually having adverse side effects leading to higher levels of depression, etc. So if you're dealing with an individual who's already struggling with their mental health and we're now adding additional medications that may or may not work or exacerbating, it's just a train wreck. And honestly, not to get myself into any kind of trouble, but I'm all about explore options and also research. Do your independent research. If you don't know, ask, just like I did. It doesn't hurt to know more. The more you learn, the more you grow in the way you think and the way you handle your interactions every day. But like Chief was mentioning, it's not just the 420. 420 alone is not the only answer. There's additional work that goes into your own healing journey, which we're all on, by the way, veteran or not. We're all on a healing journey because we're living life, and life is a roller coaster ride of emotions, of events, all kinds of things that are constantly happening. And we have to take care of our mental health. So, as someone who's not only a veteran advocate, I'm also an advocate for mental health because it is the driving force behind so much of what we choose to do and the direction we take our lives. And I applaud you for not only putting in the work for your self growth, Chief, and recognizing the areas in your life that needed to improve, such as the alcohol and how it was affected, had affected your life. But also, in addition to the 420, you took it a step further, whether it be meditation or your music therapy, demonstrating what that looks like for others. Too often we get stuck in, my head's not in the right place. I have anxiety, I have depression, but don't know what to do with ourselves. And you've been able to demonstrate that for others and say, well, there's music. Have you tried music therapy? What about exercise, going for hikes or walks? So thank you for doing that. I know you've done it on my platform with other veterans, and you've also taken it to your own platform and brought that awareness because it is important to talk about. And I wanted to talk about break stigmas with you because I think for some, they don't really understand that. They're like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I support that. Well, do you really support that? What does break stigmas mean? I wanted to dive into that a little bit with you.
That's a big one. So our flag covers 6 stigmas, and I might need your help on this, but
Absolutely.
bridging the gap, plant medicine, veteran lives matter, mental health awareness, PTSD awareness, and N22, or did I say that already?
22 a day, bringing awareness to 22 a day. So, for those of you watching who are not familiar, both the Sunny Side of Freedom and 420 Chief, after many hours on our lives and getting to know each other individually and then collectively with the group, felt that our missions were we were doing something. As Chief said, there's action behind our words. I was doing something, he was doing something, and we've come together to create break stigmas, which are those 6 stigmas that he brought up, and, we created a nonprofit.
Yes, we did. So much of our support was coming from those that we were using it to help that this kinda opened it up for business friends that were looking to support veteran missions, and they needed tax write-offs or whatever the case, so this was a way to kind of take it to that next level, so we don't have to rely on the same individuals, so we don't have to do, raffles and things. That's time consuming. It's counterintuitive sometimes when we have to spend money to ship and everything like that. Um, but also it's a network, right? It's like you had mentioned, you have your mission, I have my mission, we have a totally diverse, um, following. And I think that's really what it takes is to unite the different missions and bring other people in to really spread the awareness, not make it a contest, not be in competition with anyone, but rather join forces and help out. And I think another big benefit of having the 501c is we can actually partner up and work with other organizations to continue to expand and open up ideas and support in a different type of way.
Yes, I'm super excited about 2025. So if you're watching this and you would love to support what it is that both Chief or I or collectively what we're doing. So yes, we have individual missions and then together with Break Stigmas, we look to do bigger things together collectively with all your support. We are changing lives. We're saving lives too. One thing that Chief and I never really talk about is individual names, but yes, we are saving lives. We've saved lives. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most. We bring awareness every single day in what we do and how we interact with others, bringing awareness to 22 a day that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to talk about what PTSD. It's okay to talk about these things. Um, every opportunity we have, we're having these conversations because they're not being had within our communities. And that's awareness right there. So, yeah, Sunny planks it out. You've joined me. And for that, I'm super grateful. We are on day 383 today of planking it out, bringing awareness, reminding others to take a mindful moment for themselves. You can't pour out of an empty cup, guys. You have to take care of your mental health. More often than not, we see people that are helpers, have a giving heart, and invest and pour into someone else. leaving themselves depleted. And part of what Sunny does and tries to remind others to do is, it starts with you, self love. Start with you, pour into your own cup. It's not selfish to love yourself. So there's a lot that we've been doing over the last several years, and I see more happening for us here in 2025. I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited to be on this journey with so many amazing individuals. My heart smiles at the thought of how many of you I've met already, how many of our veterans who refer to me as sister. That's an honor, and I truly do see that. Like I made reference, I may have lost a sibling, but I've gained a lot. And it's not to replace one with the other, but has filled my heart, has given me what I needed to improve my mental health and also remind me that they see me too and see what I'm doing and support me. And they have. We're now for our veteran community pushing me along. I don't know that I'd be doing this, although I was driven to do it. I doubted myself, and that's normal. It's normal to doubt yourself, your capabilities. But I just want to say I'm also very super proud of you. Grateful and thankful for your service of 20 years in the Navy, but I'm also super grateful of the person that you are, not only to me, but to so many, and how you're selfless and with your time, how you make time for so many to ensure that they don't feel alone. And for that, I'm grateful. And I see you.
Well, they're worth it. I've met so many amazing people, and like I said, it's done more for me than I feel like I could possibly do for anyone else. So, I love the support, I love the family, I love the camaraderie that we've been able to bring back even into just my life and so many others. Like you said, we hear it all the time. And I did wanna inject one more thing. I know that we had mentioned different types of therapy and healing, and everywhere I go, I've taken my service dog, Striker. And so he's been on this mission with me, and he's definitely taught me more than I'm gonna say people have, just I've learned love from my dog and patience and so many more things, but I did spend a lot of time training him as a service animal, and he's been able to meet people, meet other dogs, and now I've even met more and more people with service animals, to include training up baby Spike, who is now an emotional support animal for Sunnyside, and because of that, I wanted to get some of these dog stories out. At the end of the day, when I think about all these miles I've put on the road and hearing all the stories, I had to reflect a little bit and realize what Stryker's even been exposed to, and what an amazing story this service animal has. And look at there, baby Spike. And so many others that have these animals, their animals have stories, just what they've been through, what they've done, and how they've helped people in so many ways, more than people even realize, and in addition to what their duties and responsibilities as a service animal are. The they've they really are life-saving creatures from God, and, because of that, I did partner up with, Frizz to form SAINT, which is Service Animal Information Network Training, and we do, a podcast every other Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time, about service animals. It's called Saint Show. The purpose of that show, is to kinda help educate and inform folks about service animals, the do's and don'ts, rules and regulations, expectations, but more importantly, to get more stories out, especially get to introduce to new animals, because I know that we all love dogs, and there are some really amazing service animals out there I can't wait to introduce people to.
How could I forget? And thank you so much for bringing that up. Yes, service animals has also been something we've been highlighting on. I'm grateful for you and Frizz coming together to do just that and bring awareness because, yes, we most definitely need awareness about service animals and how they're changing lives and also saving lives. Lives have been transformed for people. Just the mental health piece alone, that love that you speak of, that conditional versus unconditional love. My goodness, what a difference. They always love you, they're always there for you. And in addition to that, it's also bringing awareness into our communities, the do's, the don'ts, the understanding the law. It's so important to understand. And when you can better equip yourself with that, it's important. So I think that's awesome that you both of you are running this type of podcast now and allowing others to ask questions and walk away with more information. So awesome job, you guys. Awesome.
Absolutely, and I hope that it helps. I would like to get that out there for businesses and for individuals because if you've owned a service animal, you've probably run into some difficulties, whether that's staying in a hotel or even just walking into a store with your service animal. I've received pushback, I've had some horror stories, and the more information that's out there, hopefully the less that happens to people who need them, because I know for me, so many times, it triggered my anxiety, which was counterintuitive for even why my service animal was with me in the first place, and sometimes that isn't okay. It's really not okay, and there have been times where I've questioned my sanity because of that, and I would hate for anybody else to go through that, so the more information and awareness that we can get out there to help folks with service animals and even potentially help their service animal or them financially with it, I'm grateful to do so. But yes, these dogs are incredible creatures. They all have their own stories and their own special quirks, and it's fun. It's fun to get to know dogs.
Animals are special, most definitely. And let's talk about baby Spike for a minute. He's freaking phenomenal. He's like a human being, honestly. He's really in tune with me, my emotions. He gives me what I need. And it's pretty incredible. He is an emotional support animal with, of course, he's in training for hopefully being a service dog as well. And I'm not going to really get into that. It's not my area of expertise. And I'm looking forward to learning more and more with you and with Frizz. But to wrap up today, guys, for our viewers, I want you to know that sharing is caring. And that's why I brought you Chief today, because I really wanted to not only introduce him to you guys as we are now Break Stigmas as well, but introduce his mission to you and what it is that he's doing out there. And a reminder of that we're really never alone. And there are people out there genuinely putting in the time, not only to bring awareness, but to improve quality of life and save life. Life is precious. And the reminder is never alone. You really aren't. You just have to reach out. And although there are many programs, reach out to any one of them, is what I say, or dial 988. um, Quitting is not an option. We can't quit. You know, life is intended to challenge us and we grow from there. Just remember that this too shall pass. It is a roller coaster of emotions and it's not always going to be smooth sailing, but it's one that we can not always have to do alone. You know, lean into support, know what your support looks like and lean into that support. Sometimes support comes in different ways, you know, as Sunny has often said, for those that have financially contributed to supporting my missions, I thank you. And then there are others that can't financially do so, but they do it in love. You know, there's no price tag on that either. So for that, I'm grateful and continue to follow us on our social media. Continue to follow us on our individual platforms, our YouTube channels, 420 Chief and the Sunny Side of Freedom. Share it with family and friends if you think this is something that would help them, or maybe we have something they have questions about, whether it be plant medicine or what do you mean by 22. Ask us those questions. We welcome questions. Uh, Sharing is caring and learning to understand. I'm big on that. How else can you understand something if you haven't taken the time to learn about it? So, just like I shared with all of you, I had to ask questions to learn, and that's what I've done. I thank you, Chief. Do you have any closing thoughts before we say goodbye to our viewers?
I just wanna say I'm grateful for our viewers and our supporters. I get so much inspiration and motivation that it helps me continue to take action every day because even just making a freaking TikTok video every day isn't easy. It takes time, and there's all kinds of distractions when it comes to our time, and there's real life. But these connections, this support and love that I've got from the folks that support us help me to continue to take action every day. So keep leading with love and leading with change and being amazing. And you are all special. Everybody that I've listened to my whole life, if you take the time to listen to people, we're all very interesting and we all have our own passions, our own desires, and our own excitements. But it's fun to get to know that about other people and learn because sometimes it opens up opportunities for us. So keep talking about it. If you want it, you must will it. If you will it, it will be yours.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yes, we most definitely are unique and we're supposed to be. Everyone else is taken, guys. You don't want to be like anybody else. Just be your unique self and embrace that. All of it. Grow where you are. And most definitely, our viewers and supporters have been nothing short of freaking amazing. And I'm going to just kind of close this out by saying the month of December, we did something pretty amazing. We adopted a veteran for the holidays. Sunny had challenged everyone and said, "It's Giving Tuesday, December 3rd. Let's go. Let's adopt a veteran for the holidays. Let's brighten someone's holiday." Holiday historically and is well known as one of the most difficult times for our veteran community. And not only did we adopt one veteran, we adopted five. I raised $2,600 in 2 weeks. And on December 22nd, I had a raffle, like a drawing, and those names that were entered in by supporters, those were the names that were chosen. And it just warmed my heart to reach out to somebody who was a complete stranger and say, "Hey, somebody entered your name into this drawing and you're one of the recipients." And all I can say is it made a difference. They felt seen and heard by strangers. And that's what it's about, leading in love and leading the way. And don't ever let anyone or anything stand in the way of that or dim your light. Follow through with whatever's sorry about that. Follow through whatever it is that's calling on your heart and do so. If you need support, reach out to any one of us. Stay tuned for more. There will be more to come. Sunny also interviews veterans on her platform. I do feel that their stories are important to get out there, and not just their stories, but what they're doing now. As Chief just shared, this is what he's doing now. If you're interested, please reach out to him. Ask him some questions. He's the best person to ask when it comes to his journey. I won't speak on behalf of that other than just give him lots of kudos because he's doing amazing things out there. So for today, we're going to say thank you. Stay sunny, stay spicy, always make it count, lead in love, and lead the way. Be the difference you want to see in others. Much love to all of you. Stay tuned for more. Much love.